I think this is not taught well enough in our current system. And I'm not even saying the US, I'm saying worldwide, is that there's something extremely valuable about a mentor. Having somebody who's walked the path before you and having that relationship of somebody who's done it already and helping you along the way, because you can take their lifetime of experience and you can literally collapse the time frame to not make all the same mistakes they've made. That's why I love books, because I can take somebody who spent a lifetime to build information and I can read it in 2 hours, and they've poured in years to make this book available to me, and I can buy it for 15, $20 and I can learn so much. So I love the idea of mentors growing, that kind of that growth mindset. But I would say that's what a lot of people need to do, is just find a really solid mentor, find somebody who's done what you're wanting to do and just literally shadow them. I know some people and I did one of my first gigs. I literally worked for free just to work for the mentor. Quickly transitioned to him paying me to work for him. So I literally got paid to learn in the real estate, and education space. So
Right.
again, it's find a mentor, man. Find somebody who's done before and take advantage of it and ask people. You'd be surprised how many times people want to help just because they want to help. And so I would tell everybody, man, that everybody should have a mentor, somebody that's kind of a little bit farther along than them. So
Yeah, that's all really good advice. Let's talk about people who are already established, right? So let's say someone's at a scale. Maybe they're at $500,000 a year, maybe they're at $1 million a year, and they just want to get to that $5 million tier, right? What kind of advice do you have for those people? Like maybe they're
yeah,
still working in their business too much, right?
yeah. It's definitely a challenge. So I think the key to that is finding a company that has a good track record, been doing it, and seeing where they're at to get those numbers, right? And I think that's where people make the biggest mistake, is they're trying to do it all on their own rather than saying it's already been modeled before us. I mean, if you really think about everybody out there, I mean, you take, Amazon and Bezos, right? Didn't invent the website. I mean, he wasn't even the first bookseller, right? He just found a way to do it better, do it faster, to be more efficient, and so forth. So everything that we would want to do in life is, for about 99.99% of the time, it's already been done. So I love, again, the idea of a mentor or a model. And so if you're at sitting at 500,000, your goal is to get to 5 million, what does a $5 million company in your industry look like? What type of automations and systems and what do they have in place? And it doesn't mean you copy it exactly, because, there's maybe some efficiencies you can work on. But I would say start there, and Stephen Covey said it best: start with the end in mind and work backwards, right? So that would be the key. Find a company that's doing, $1 million, and jumping from 500,000 to a million, pretty straightforward. Once you hit a million, getting to 5 million, that's a little bit more challenging, because you're probably gonna need more people. You're gonna have to have better systems. I know a lot of people I work with, we get them from about six figures, maybe 100 to 200,000. We'll get them to a half million or a million. And at that point, they really need additional help, and not even virtual help. They're going to need true, employees, or at least independent contractors committed to them. So that would be the key. Find a company that is out there already doing it, and figure out what they have and what they have in place. And then, try to cut a little bit of fat and make it a little bit better, be really efficient, build systems and automation. So that would be the key.
What do you think that the biggest mistake is that established entrepreneurs make?
Well, I think that you just mentioned it, really. It's the idea of working in their business rather than working on their business. And that is really a big challenge as far as growing, because if it's always dependent on me as the individual to make every decision, then I'm limited to my ability and my experience of business. So one of the best things to do is start giving and empowering your team to have them start making some of those decisions. Now, ultimately, there's some big decisions, whether you take on some big financing or you're buying buildings. I mean, you have to be involved in some of the stuff. But I would say that would be the most challenging thing that almost every entrepreneur deals with, which is, growing a great team, pay them very well, by the way. You got to pay a great team to keep them. And then, again, to scale, I think it's really important to stop always working in the business and making you what I call the choke point. If you become a choke point, it's really hard to grow. So you got to find ways to build, again, the systems, automations, the right people, the right team, pay them well, and then the business can grow. But your company will probably only grow as much as you grow. And so I think that, again, it comes back to having somebody, a mentor, having somebody ahead of you, and growing yourself.
Yeah, that's a great segue. All the entrepreneurs that I've ever spoken with that made the leap from this smaller business to the 5 million and more had to go through a tremendous amount of personal growth, right? Whether it's being too controlling, trying to work in their business or not giving control over to other people and not having processes or just overspending or not paying attention because now they're making a lot of money and they go off and they come back and everything's falling apart. And it always comes down to this personal growth stuff.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, again, I can only grow a company so far before I have to grow myself. And again, it's I always encourage everybody to have, really be a part of networking opportunities or part of communities where, you can learn. But, currently, I have mentors. I have people I, pay to be a part of what they're doing and for their counsel. And if nothing else, it's great just to get the feedback and getting some input that is outside, because so many times we think we're right on track and then we're maybe blindsided with something we didn't know about. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. So why not have somebody available who's does know, be able to kind of help bring it in. I mean, that's why I look at, somebody again, and everyone, you love him or hate him, Elon Musk, I mean, he's truly pioneering some things that no one's done, like going to Mars, right? But when it comes to, for example, solar, his business, or it comes to batteries, I mean, he didn't invent the battery. All he's doing is perfecting the process, doing his first principles and doing that type of thing. So again, I think that's the key is that I would imagine he's constantly growing himself, and how you grow yourself is growing the people around you so that you can actually have that good counsel, because it's pretty easy when you have a group, or a number of people evaluating an issue than trying to figure it all out yourself. I mean, I would like to think I know it all, but I don't, man. There's a far more I don't know than what I know. So if I can be around smart people that can help me and are better at a job than me, man, bring them on, let them run with it.
Yeah, I know that's amazing. I think that's right on. I saw a meme the other day that said build a team so strong that no one can tell who the leader is. And I
I
thought
love it.
that's just right on, right?
Love
I
it.
mean, I think, this macro or micro management is destroying companies. I mean, it literally is. If you especially if you want to get out of your business so you can grow it and not work in it, you got to train someone to do what you do and have your clients respect them.
Absolutely, 100%. And and I think that's even coming out from the very beginning. And again, not trying to go back all the way to service industry, but that's one of the great things about, again, in the service industry. If you're like, own a HVAC or something like that, is you're eventually going to build and find the right people. You're going to pay them well. They're the ones that are in the field. They're the ones that represent your brand. And you can find an office manager. You can find those other positions that can kind of help manage it for you. So you're not the one making every decision. You're not the one picking up the phone. And it's done every single day. It's just a matter of building a business from the beginning, knowing, again, what is my end goal with this? So if somebody's going to start a business, again, I ask coaches, one of the first things I ask them is, I say, great, if I could give you the magic wand, you could create whatever you wanted to be, what would it be? And if they tell me, well, I want to, build a company that makes $100,000, not a year, but a month. Okay, great. And that's great, but what else, right? And that's a great question to ask me. What else? What else? And what you'll find is that right there puts in motion most of the steps you would need to do in order to build that type of a company. So that's a great meme though. I'd love to see it, because that's awesome, man. That's a good one.